You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of wait for it, of KNUCKLE! Woo! Dizzy. My head is spinning. Welcome, my friends, to a show that apparently seemingly had, at least until 251, never ends. I am your host, Eugene S. Robinson, with the S standing for suckers. I'll explain the glasses in a second, but right now, Stigmata, calling it a just. The song is called Intro, All of Nothing. Still available from Revelation Records in Huntington Beach, California. Go and buy it. But first, the immortal words of Bob Riley, the singer who said it all. He's on his way back to nowhere. I'm on my way back to nowhere. I took my time, but I could not see so clear. I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Or being paid back and for always nothing. All right, my friends. So this weekend, since the last show, since 259, we've seen a lot happen. We've seen Taylor Swift after my booty. She's after my booty with her "Look What You Made Me Do" single. You think that shit doesn't make a difference? Hey, look, you know, there was that cat on that show, Archer, the black super spy with the star David. You think that was accidental? It's plate. It's shrimp. It's plate of shrimp. It's not accidental. So let me explain the eye. I go out like I do. You know, gardening is so relaxing. That's why you'll find me at 5 o'clock in the morning doing it, or 12:30 at night, because it's so relaxing. And so I go out to trim the hedges, and a chunk of something falls in my eye. I'll keep this story under 30 seconds. I get the big portion of it out. I ignore it, go on, go train my whole day. Later on that night after running, I go in to take a shower, and another chunk comes out. And I get this irritation under the eyelid. I figure it's still there. And I ignore it. It goes away. It's still bothering me a little bit, but I don't know. Popeye's got the same eye problem, and I don't take him to the vet, so I figure suck it up. I'm training 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Boom, something else in the eye socket. I don't know what it is. It's white. It's not semen. It could be the piece of the floor. I don't know what it is. Tape, something. Pull it out. Now I got this really big irritation. Now I get a cold in my eye. You can get stomach flu. You can get ass flu. It's medically accepted. Everybody knows this. So I get eye flu. And so this eye is like fucked up. And I trained again. And I refuse to go to the doctor. I got some eye wash. It's getting better, but so much. So I figure I'm either going blind in this eye, in which case I just want to get used to these, or my eye is highly, it's not pink eye, doesn't itch. But in any case, you know, fine when people got eye problems and they're trying to look at you, you're like, right now, I'm kind of going on the internet looking for a parrot and an eye patch and like a wooden leg, because this is clearly my future. Anyway, this is round 258 I am your host, Eugene S. Robinson, and outside of being reamed by Taylor Swift, who has not sent me a check, you don't think, I'm not kidding you. If you think the Buffers haven't started, let's get ready to rumble, haven't trademarked that stuff, you're wrong. It's time. Don't think that's trademark? You're wrong. I should have trademarked it, but all trademarking would have done is let me sue for treble damages, which means I could still do a you-funded campaign and get enough money to sue her for stealing what has been a signature sign-off for upward of 500 shows. I don't think it's a mistake. And it's not like chair, a commonly used thing, but I'm not talking about that. I'm here to talk about what we just saw, and we'll move back in time. And the goalpost of the show, for those of you who don't have the patience to pay attention, you're going to have to look at my eye. This is distracting me. The goalpost of the show, for those of you who don't have the patience to pay attention, Conor McGee and Mayweather, and then Jonny Boney Joney and everything in between. So let's go. Now, I watched the fight last night at Fred's place. Place was jam-packed with MMA people. And what I love about this fight is that it preyed on a certain kind of tribalism, right? You know, tribal identities. Like guys in the UK say they'll vote for an Irishman over an American anytime. If it's an Irishman over an Englishman, they vote for the Englishman. Same with Irish guys in general, right? A British guy against an American, fuck them, unless they're really a hardcore North County types, in which case they hope the American beats the Englishman. So we had some tribalism here, whether it's Europe versus America, whether it's Irish versus, you know, there were the Vegas casino, the place where the fight was jam-packed with Irish cats flying the flag, and you know, they always after me Lucky Charms. But there was also the tribalism that these guys tried to pimp when they were worried about ticket sales of a racial tribalism. With Mayweather himself shooting it down at first, but then when ticket sales kind of seemed to be lagging, said stuff like, well, hey, you know, I'm doing this for every black person in America. Really? You're doing it for every black person in America? You're doing it for me? Where the fuck is my checkbook? Where's me? I got receipt, some aspirin, check, $1. But the 250 mil purportedly that he got paid on the high end, I don't see any of that. But, you know, people went for it, right? Or the MMA versus boxing thing. And I had gone on record as saying that this was better for boxing than it was for MMA. But that only presupposes an absence of MMA myopians, which it was easy to divide and conquer these, because you could have an Irish MMA enthusiast who is doubled up on the myopia, or you could have a Irish MMA enthusiast who is also stridently opposed to cats who beat their women, or you could have a black American cat who fundamentally smells. It's like, you know, the suspicion that black cats who are in the basketball feel for anybody who's too much into the Celtics. You know? That we know what you're saying. Like that great scene in Tropic Thunder. You people. What do you mean you people? You people. You people. Or like the guys in the Mafia gym I used to work at say, hey, what's your name, kid? I like you. Jimmy. Jimmy what? Jimmy Rose. What do you mean, Jimmy Rose? Is that Roselli or Rosenberg? Well, it's just Rose. Where are your people from? All kinds of tribalism over this fight, but you know what that is? That's the shit that guides the step after step, the 1 foot in front of the other, that gets you to step up to the 3-card Monte table. No mistaking that this was in Vegas. People kept asking me, Eugene, who do you have? Eugene, who do you have? Even my kids got in on the scene. I watched it with one of my kids. The other kid's off at college. She was texting me like, oh, you watch it, Dad? What do you think? I said, it's Vegas. You don't know what to think. On the one hand, there was a chance that the guy would, you know, he'd want to toy with his 49-0 record and do some stuff that turns this into at least a rematch. Because if you got 200, what's better than 250 mil? 500 mil. That's what. And if you don't, I'm always the one dummy saying this. Go, the guy's already got 250 mil. Why would he want more? And my drummer typically looks at me and goes, it's never enough. Never, ever is it enough. Not when you got taxes, not when you got this, not when you got hangers on, you got that stuff moves fast. You got a nice house, pay property tax on the house every single year. Put that stuff in the bank. Oh, whoa, you want to pull some of it out because you want to move. Whoa, long-term capital gains, you're getting screwed. Hey, it's never enough. Unless you're like Jaimin Hunsu and you're living in a condo in Beverly Hills, playing it close to the vest, guys, are never enough. You know one of the first things MacG is going to do? He's going to go back to that Rolls Royce dealership. The guy who said, you're renting from me. You can't stand up things you rent from me. Come back when you have Mayweather money. He's going to go back there. He's going to buy it. And he's going to buy it while standing on it. He's going to stand on it and ask her, how much is it? And he's going to throw cash in the guy's face. Have you ever done this? It was not one of my prouder moments. But, you know, if you're ever enticed to see how low people would go, somebody like, Eugene, I desperately need $4,000. I go, really? $4,000? What would you do for $4,000? Well, I need to buy a car. It'll change my life. Change your life, huh? What would you do to change your life? I can end that story there. So, you know, this thing that gets you to put one foot in front of the other and step up to that 3-card monte table. And keep in mind, I'm not just talking about the people who actually paid. That's too easy to say. That's a Monday morning loophole that I'm not going to let you guys play. Well, I didn't pay for it. Oh, no, you did pay for it. You did pay for it. And if you're watching this show this far, you're continuing to pay for it. And if you busted your ass to get over to somebody's house who paid for it and didn't chip in, you're paid for it. Time is money, baby. You're paid for it. You can't say now on Monday that you didn't care and, oh, at least, you know, it's, oh, yeah, I had sex with that dude, but at least I didn't pay for it. Okay. That guy wanted me to blow him for $50. I showed him. I did it for free. Yeah. Okay. So we're all, anybody who's listened this far, who's paid attention, all in the same boat, bro. Sis. So let's not get away with that. So what did you see? So what got you? Whatever kind of tribalism got you up to the 3-card monte table. What, you know, what I saw people were talking about? Oh, the weigh-in. Oh, man. And there was one great tell in the weigh-in. And that was when, you know, McGregor is doing his McGregor thing. Is yah, yah, yah. And Mayweather is there. And Mayweather does some kind of hand jive thing. I thought at first he grabbed his unit, but actually he tapped him. And right after he tapped him, like on the hip or the waist, right after he tapped him, they both turned around and faced the cameras. He tapped him the same way your boss might say, hey, the meeting's over here. People are like, oh, did you see? I saw one guy working for the other guy. Don't you remember when Mayweather said, if you're talking to the bald one through proxy, if you're not careful, I'll tell your guys how to make some money. You're getting damaged worse. I never seen anybody like Robbie Lawler with his lips split open from here to here. I never seen a boxer leave the ring like that. For peanuts, $10,000. Same people. Where they come from? People are like, oh, that P. Diddy seat, that's not $10,000. That's $250,000. I don't know whether he paid or not or had it comped. I'm sure the people sitting around him, whose names you don't know, were not getting comps. So maybe they were paying $250. And you look at P. Diddy, he's looking up the whole time. I'm 10 rows out. I'm going to look at the Jumbotron. I might as well stay at home. $250,000, nothing for these guys. So we're stepped up to the 3-card Monte table. Find the red, gonna find the red. When he taps him on the crotch and McGregor goes, oh, and turns around and faces the audience, I see one guy working for another guy. I remember distinctly that one guy saying, you're not careful, I'll teach your guys how to make some real money. I look at the ring from above with the God cam, and I see TMT, Mayweather, some signage, and at the bottom of the ring, I see McGregor, the production company. If you don't think with that $100 million that McGregor is not going to, guys who find themselves going to straight blast gym, and he's going to develop a boxing team, and he's going to develop an MMA team, because now the game has changed. I grew up with a stepfather who was a journalist, and I remember him agonizing. Editor did this, editor did that. So I resolved, okay, I'm going to do this as a job. I'm not going to be just a journalist. I seen this guy get pushed from pillar to post. He's won awards, still getting treated like a grocery clerk by guys who are editors. I'll be an editor. Editor-in-chief bunches of times, winning awards. But then I'm starting to see that I got to answer to people who spent 2 years in an MBA program who don't know, couldn't do my job with a gun to their face. And I go, I see. The more higher up I move, the more pieces I get to move. I got $100 million now. You know what? I'm not one of those little pieces at the front of the board anymore. I'm the piece in the back with the crown. If you've not been paying attention, the bald one has been talking about, oh, I'd like to give an ownership stake to Mystic Mac. Mystic Mac mentioned this a few years ago. He should have taken the deal then because of ownership stake now. But now, why? Because he's got $100 million. It's all about the sausages on the plates, baby. All of a sudden, a guy who was invisible 6 years ago is very visible to the bald one, the man with many sausages on his plates. You know why? Because the bald one has his own little 3-card Monte table. What a guy who has $300 million sees when he sees a guy with $100 million is like what they used to see on cartoons when they were stranded on a desert island. McG looks like a hot dog. He looks like another sausage to a guy with many sausages on his plate. And the sharks will coagulate, collect, cohere. Similarly, when McG surveys the world, he sees some guys, he sees some guys who are willing to, like a guy, I'm not even going to mention his name, say, Eugene, you're stupid. If I had what you had, I'd be a multimillionaire. This is a big direct mail guy. I go, how would you do that? He goes, give me $6,000 and I'll tell you. You were associated with Billy Bob Thornton. You were associated with Halle Berry. You were associated with the celebrities. You were hanging out with Bill Clinton, Donna Shalala. You were, you have information that you could sell about what? Anything. You got photographs of you and Bill Clinton? Anybody, anything. Okay. It's like those people who met me, who I talked about on 259. Have you ever heard of a Ponzi scheme? Yeah. Well, this is not that. Okay, Mr. 100 millionaire. Look, there's a guy I know who's a supreme bunko artist. I owe this guy $70 for the last 15 years. I am convinced that the reason he and I are still friends because he's trying to get that $70 back. You know what he did? He said, I'll tell you what, Eugene, I'll buy it when you got the Skull Game, the porn review site. I'll buy some of the stuff for you. I can resell it in my store. You review it, you give it to me, I'll rebox it. I don't want to do this, man. No, come on, let's do it. Okay, I'll give you $100 for 2. Nobody's $50 for porno DVD. Look, I just want to get the pump primed. I said, well, you give me $100 and I'll give you 1. Yeah, so I give him. He goes, later, where are my other DVDs? I said, you said for 2. He goes, that's a crazy deal. I would never have made it. For half a second, I start to doubt myself. Like, nah. Nah, I'm not playing that game. So for 15 years, this guy I've owed him $70, and that's, I think, why we're still friends. If McG thinks we're equals now, you are wrong. You are wrong. At this point now, big boys, big knives. So he taps him on the pelvis. Yeah, McG turns around and faces the camera. And I'm telling people, if some of you listen to my Twitter feed, I see one guy who's working for the other guy. That's all I sees. And I sees no more. And any of you freaking myopians who were saying, like, there were people, again, I'm not going to make any tribal claims here for anybody, but there are people who I was watching the fight with, like, oh, they stopped the fight too soon. Oh. Anybody who saw that face of McGregor recognizes it from the first Diaz fight. It's when the switch goes off. And you can tell he's backpedaling. He realized he didn't know how he was going to get gotten, but he got gotten. And if you think that, you know, the ultimate chess player in Mayweather wasn't playing chess, you're very wrong. People are like, oh my God, he got the first 3 rounds, the first 4 rounds. I don't care how many early rounds he got. Mayweather wasn't going to take the chance of letting that go beyond 6 rounds. So if I'm going to give the guy 7 rounds and hope that he's tired and I hope I can put him away. You know what hope is for? Hope is for people who don't have sausages. Like somebody said, Mayweather has never fought anybody who could beat him. The numbers seem to support that. More importantly, like KNUCKLE, you know, the game is in choosing the opponent. So, you know, oh, he got the first 3 rounds. Deadspin said it best. There was never any single point at which McG provided a threat based on boxing fundamentals. If you read the fight book, Fighter, Everything You Ever Know What to Know About Asking About you asking for asking. If you read that book, you remember the section with Ty Domi, the hockey enforcer. And if you didn't read the book, you don't even have to. You go to YouTube, you type in Ty Domi, T-I-E space D-O-M-I. Boom. If you don't know anything about hockey, Toronto Blue Jays, no, Toronto Blue Jays is a freaking baseball team. Whatever the team he played for, some Canadian team. And his fight style was he would grab the jersey. He told me this. Grab the jersey up by the head, duck his head into the crook of his neck here, close his eyes, and just start punching. His theory was that if my fist is here, I know that somewhere between my fist, your face is going to be. I protect mine, and I go bang, a bang, a bang, a bang. That's a callback to my World War II Italian fascist joke, which I won't repeat. Or maybe I will repeat it. They're out in the field. We don't have any guns. We don't have any guns to shoot, but when we go, you just go a bang, a bang. You see the enemy, you go a bang, a bang. He's coming, you go bang, a bang. So it's the day of the big battle, and they see him, and they go, hey, bang, a bang. And the guy keeps coming. And he goes a boom, a boom. He throws his grenade. The guy keeps coming. Now the guy's really close. He goes a stabber, stabber. Like he doesn't have a bayonet, but he's making stabber, stabber. He goes, hey, I go a stabber, stab. I go a boom, a boom. I go a bang, a bang. You know, fall down. And the Nazi goes, tank, 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 tank. Sorry. Sorry I had to do that to you. That was a segue for the Nazi thing. So the basic Deadspin piece pegs it. Things that you do if you're a boxer automatically. I'm doing it now for those of you on the radio. I'm moving my head like I'm in the Partridge Family. Other things you do if you're a boxer. Not how tired you are, you keep your hands up. You know, McGregor. And if you expect me to talk about the prelim fights on the card, these guys who suddenly have a bigger audience and they come in fuzzy hats and they look like the thing on the Bugs Bunny, the monster on the Bugs Bunny cartoon thing. I'm not going to do that because I don't give a fuck about that. Boxing's time to shine. So McGregor was doing none of these things. Not only that, he was being rope-a-doped. I had to tell my kids, look up rope-a-dope. You know, at a certain point, Mayweather just turned his back to him. He goes, one, unlike Chris Woodpile Weidman, I think it's February, isn't it? He's like, I turn my back to you and you hit me. It's not MMA. At the best case, you lose a point. Worst case, you get tired and you're just wasting your time. Third case, unreported third case, is that you get fucking suckered in. Fucking suckered in. Turn it back to you. And your awareness of being suckered in fucks you over. Because you go, I'm being played. And you do that double brain thing, the double mind thing of reflecting on what you're reflecting on. I'm being played. God damn it, he got me. God damn it. And then you're not playing the game. You are not finding the red. There is not a single point at which Mayweather couldn't have put McGregor away. And if you're not facing up to that hard fucking fact, you need to. Not a single point. That wasn't the objective of this fight, though. Fight. Air quotes. Nah. The objective of this fight was to get it as I remember watching the Inoki Ali fight and being very disappointed. It was before I knew anything about MMA or I knew karate, stand-up karate, you know, and I knew boxing. I didn't know anything about ground stuff, guys on the ground kicking the legs for that. I didn't know anything about that. Nothing. Very disappointed. Saw no style, nothing. But anything that happened in rounds 1, 2, or 3 would have required McGregor to get very lucky. He hit him with an uppercut. You know, you've heard me tell this story before, but I had a 60-something-year-old boxing coach. And, you know, I'm always mouthy. One thing I love about jiu-jitsu is I can always say, well, what if, and then the coach will get on the mat and pretzel you up, and you go, okay, I got it. And I said to this guy, he's having me do these endless drills with tennis balls. And I'm like, I just want to get in there and fight. Let me work on some footwork. And footwork sets up your handwork. Don't fuck around. It sets up your handwork. Let me set it up. And I'm asking the question. He gets annoyed. He goes, put your mouthpiece in. Oh, my God. And he hit me with a shot in the midsection that effectively ended my training with him. It was like somebody hit me with a driver or a baseball bat. I could feel it from my stomach to my spine. I've done MMA. SF Fight Club. 13 fights. 2 losses. 11 wins. Look, don't get too crazy about those wins. As you may have known, one of my favorite wins was a guy who was beating the slop out of me and then punched himself in his own eye and couldn't continue. Yeah, that was one of my wins. So don't get too excited about that. And so I've been punched by guys who train in MMA. And I've also been punched by 63-year-old black boxing coaches. And I will take a punch from an MMA guy any day. If you don't think it's a big difference, go to your boxing gym. One of the fights I won was against a guy who went to University of Minnesota on a boxing scholarship. I felt that too. Knocked me down. I got like Heath Herring. I rolled across the mats. The guy started talking to me. I panicked. He didn't know what to do. And I crawled over to him, yanked his legs out, and then choked him out. Forget that. So there was never any single point at which anything that McGregor was throwing, including that uppercut in the first round, he was scoring points. That wasn't the game. It was inexorable and it was painful. If somebody said it best, I'll just read you the text. Was it a text that came in? I don't think it actually was a text. He goes, it was jiu-jitsu. Yeah, essentially, no, you guys are tweeting me. You guys, this is Maddie. Maddie from New York says, Conor has lost battalion with a bullet, essentially saying he wasn't losing, he was just tired. You know what? He's got to say something to all those guys who put together their few pennies to get over there from Ireland for the fight. He's got to say something for those guys. But I don't think we could make the claim that anybody with $100 million is mystified. You'll be able to tell, what is that song they used to sing in church? They will know They will know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yeah, yeah. You will know if he's lost battalion by his next move for sure. But I don't think at this point now, I think it's like having sex with somebody who's really unattractive. You know why that's some of the best sex you'll ever have? Because if you're a 6 and you're having sex with a 2, you're super relaxed. And relaxed sex is the best sex you're ever gonna get. Very easy, easy peasy, fun time. You got $100 million. I don't know what that translates to sausage on plates, because sausage on plates is a relative measure, whereas 100 mil is an absolute measure. If you're hanging around with guys with 300 mil, you don't have a lot of sausages on your plates. But if you're hanging around with guys who are getting $10,000 a fight, you got a lot of sausages on the plates. But the point is, you don't care. You got $100 million. At this point now, MMA is play. He wasn't there before. It was a race against time, and this is why he did what he did. He will eventually lose. It is a given. Randy Couture lost. Anderson Silva lost. Jonny Boney Joney, well, we'll get to that. That was my segue. Most of the greats lose. And then the bald one is on you. Like a boa constrictor, you take a breath, it squeezes in. Let's take another breath, it squeezes in. Those sausages are a mighty big attractant for a guy with 300 mil. Mighty big attractant. Your bargaining power through the floor. Now with 100 mil, now we're almost talking to equals. And at the very least, you got 100 million of something that the bald one wants. So you lose, you're still a player. Oh, I didn't find the red. Set him up again. Find the red. I didn't find the red. Set him up again. Okay. Double or nothing. He didn't have that once he got that loss in his back pocket. In other words, he is now the guy, the 6 having sex with the 2. Do whatever he wants, super relaxed. He loses, so what? So what? I'm playing. And moreover, part of his shtick is making you feel bad. Part of his shtick is making you feel bad. And nobody can make, I haven't felt worse outside of the eye. I haven't felt worse outside of the eye because you know what? I woke up today to face a hard, cold fucking fact. That unless something miraculous happens, I will never see $100 million. And that sounds like, oh, Eugene, you're being ridiculous. None of us will ever see $100 million. What, like that's better? That's supposed to make me feel better that we are all losers. And Jim asked him after the fight, the guy, Cat says, hey, Conor, you seem pretty happy. At that point, Conor should have jumped on the guy's shoulder and started rubbing his nuts on his head. I am pretty happy, Jim. Now, if you excuse me, I will rub my nuts on your forehead. $100 million. $100 million. How does that sound? My name is Elmer G. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht. Nice. So a couple of people were fucked. Ex-wives of Mayweather were fucked. Irish fans were fucked. MMA fans were fucked. Boxing fans are fucked. Because while boxing comes out looking better, if you think that this is a whole scale endorsement of boxing, you're crazy. What kind of year is boxing looking at for the rest of 2017 or 2018? You're going to look at Gervonta Davis? Yeah, so what? Big deal. Yeah, Canelo, GGG, these guys have people talking about, oh, now he can fight Malignaggi. Who the fuck wants to see that? Every time you fight, you open a door. The absolute lack of head movement. You think he wants to get in there with Malignaggi, who's not in business with him? It's not out of the question that dude Mayweather owns a piece of him. Just like the guy offered me $6,000. He said, I'll charge you $6,000 and I'll tell you how to become a multimillionaire. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. In other words, I'm disgruntled, I'm disdainful, I'm distracted, and it's painful. Tom Waits. Because everybody got played, and we're acting like we didn't. Because it feels somehow better if we act like we didn't, but we did. I didn't make a pick because I knew there was going to be some playtime. Yeah, you know, I felt good after the fight, in actual fact. I felt really good because the right thing happened. That's all I'm asking. I can't believe a guy who's been doing it since he was 8 years old, never been beaten, is going to be beaten by a guy with a dream. Right? He's going to get lucky. Nah, there's no luck about this. There's no luck. There's no luck about this game. There's no luck. You think a guy gets to 50-0 on luck and hope? Fuck out of here. The only possible light glimmer of hope is that you see that McG, he's already got enough losses on the record so that his interest in pulling careful, cautious, and contrived, that's not going to be part of what he does. What he should do, fight the third part of the trilogy with Nate. Or better yet, hopscotch. Book it, Nate gets hurt, Nick fills in, and then you could double it. So maybe he loses to Nick. He goes, well, at least I could beat his bitch-ass brother. Then he goes back and fights a third part of the trilogy with Nate. And then he could if he loses, he could say, well, I could kick his brother's ass again. And then he could lose to Diaz as many times. Twice to Nick, one more time to Nate. And that's 3 big money fights. Because who else is he going to fight? What, Khabib? Ferguson? Get out of here. It's all about the juice. And just because a guy's got 100 mil doesn't mean he wants to go back to fighting for a mil. He wants to fight, but it's a thing that he finds compelling. Roar of the crowd. Getting on Kimmel. You're not going to get on Kimmel fighting Khabib. Sorry, Khabib. And if Ferguson is going to put more clips on his Instagram page of him hitting the speed bag, thinking he's going to do some kind of boxing thing, boxing is just desperate enough. You're going to fight. You're going to fight. You're going to fight. You're going to fight that people. Don't get used to, like, at one point I was staying in a really nice hotel in Hamburg, and my European tour manager came, and it was being paid for by some corporation. He's looking around. He's like, oh, man, don't get used to this. And I laughed and laughed, but he was right. Because that gravy train came screeching to a halt. The eye is bugging me from the light. Yes, if you missed out why my eye is messed up, you go back to the beginning of the show. So, so you got 2 rich guys, pretty happy after the fight. And they're slapping bags, so they let's go off. And I told you I'd make you rich. You know, the great thing about Mayweather is that he actually did this. Yes, he needed the money for the tax reason, but there are not a lot of people who put you on. I can name the people who've done it. Aaron Turner in ISIS, the band, and now Sumac. I've been doing music since 1980. You know the number of larger bands that have said, hey, Eugene, you want to go on tour with us? Aaron Turner's ISIS, Aaron Turner's Sumac. Love my guys in Neurosis, and we played their Beyond the Pale festival. And I've toured with Scott Kelly, solo stuff. I want to play with Oxbow every night. Guys in Dillinger Escape Plan, we're gonna have us do it. They're playing their last show in New York in December, and they have guest artists. I told them I'm gonna start telling people that we're the guest artists. Guys, you know, why not? It's not so much that I'm a liar. I just say stuff that doesn't come true. Yeah. So the number of people that put you on in your lifetime are few and far between. Yes, he got his tax money. He didn't have to do it. He came across the room. He got enough money, you could work that out. From just TV commercials, you could pay off that tax bill. You could work stuff out. Came across, he saw something in McG and said, the guy's got the it. I could step in here. I could take 6 points on the boy, and I can get him working and in the process make him rich, why not? We got to save combat sport. Gotta save combat. We got to keep the grocery store open. We got to keep the grocery store open, and part of how we're going to do that is to get guys who have it. You're not going to let a guy like that go. No, you are not. Which is why, and you know, I'm taking nothing at all away from McGregor. You want to see how great McGregor is? Let me tell you how great McGregor is. I'm going to give you 3 words to tell you how great McGregor is. Jonny Boney Joney. You could have all the God-given talent and skill in the world. Emmitt Smith, great football player. What's amazing about Emmitt, there have been better football players in that position. What's amazing about Emmitt Smith is that he made it that long without getting hurt, and part of that is his genius. With arguably double the skill that McG had. Jonny Boney Joney. So I go to a guy from Goldman Sachs, and I spew out, oops, sorry, something's happened here. I spew out my theory. Started by Kid Nate on If I Did It, and advanced by me online, not Instagram, but through Twitter. And that's that because we discovered late in the day that the Fertittas helped with the financing. It's like, let me give you the thumbnail sketch. Look at the restaurant scene in Goodfellas for what I'm talking about, or very specifically, think about this in terms of, I'm going to sell you the same car several times. So I said, is there a possibility, I said to the Goldman Sachs guys, that they want a distressed sale? Okay, you give me $3.2 billion, say the Fertittas, and we'll work on some financing deal for the other $1 billion. You can pay it to me over 10 years. We hit earmarks. You have a distressed sale coming 3 years. You miss the marks. You have a devalued property. You step in as a savior and go, tell you what, this shit is not worth more than 50 mil now. I'll take it off your hands for 50 mil. WME goes, my God, we got nothing for 2017. We got nothing but 2018. We got to make these payments. What are we going to do it on? We can't do it on the backs of anything. You know, Jonny Boney Joney's blown himself out of the water. Fuck it. Okay, we'll sell to you. I'm just making this number up for 50 mil. What do you think happened to that 3.2 bill that they gave for 3 years that they're not going to see any? You think they're going to claw that back? No. So I go to the Goldman Sachs guy, and I said, does this make any sense? And the Goldman Sachs guy says to me, it doesn't make, it would be a stupid way to do business. I can't, and he starts throwing out facts and figures and about amortization and what you got to do for, you know, earnings before interest and tax and all that kind of shit that I don't have a head for. He just goes, it would be a dog-headed way to do business. Not saying it's not happening, but it is a dog-headed way to do business. And I'm sorry, Papa, I just mean that in terms of not as savvy. I'm dog shaming now. And he goes, and I said, well, look at it this way. The steroid that, and you know, I come to this topic, steroids, with a treasure trove of personal insight. First of all, take my word for it, orals are shit. Anybody who says Eugene is full of shit, orals are great. I used to take oral Dianabol. I used to take 80-50. 80-50 was the most powerful oral steroid in the world, made by Syntex. And that was known to fuck people up majorly. Why? Because of the first pass. Anything I swallow right now, my liver has to take care of immediately. Strangely enough, injectables are a lot healthier for you than pills, because it kind of goes through past your liver and it goes again. It's multiple passes. It's picked up by your bloodstream and taken around and around. Pills go in right away, and they don't do shit. 80-50, the most powerful steroid in the world, discontinued by Syntex back before it was Ciba-Geigy, did nothing. Maxabolin did nothing. These pills don't do anything. So the guys who swear by the pills are also stacking them with injectables. Injectables do something. And they might mask the fact, man, I took Decaduroblin with Maxabolin, it was great. Oh, yeah? Drop out Decadurable and see if Maxabolin does something. It does nothing. So anybody who is genuinely interested in getting some benefit that performance-enhancing drugs would give you would not take this fucking drug he's accused of taking. But like I say, if you go into the stupid store, there's a lot of Jonny Boney Joney product in there. He set himself up. You don't fuck with a guy with $300 million worth of sausages on his plates. The guy's been throwing you under the bus forever. But my Goldman Sachs guy says, this would be a stupid way to go about it. And thank you very much. I'll just say I told you so a long time ago. You should listen to me. Instead of getting other people MMA Journalist of the Year, you had your chance. But the guy shoots it down. He said, I said, okay, what about this scenario? What about if it's a way to undermine USADA? Because certainly if USADA comes back as having jumped the gun on this, screwed up somehow, messed up the testing, not only are they dealing with a lawsuit from Jonny Boney Joney, but they've given, what is that? Something, not cause de celeb, cri de coeur, cry. Now what is it? A battle cry. And the bald one could say, nah, we can't have a multi-billion-dollar enterprise running out, we can't, we cheat him and how, Manny, Mo, and Jack, Mo, Larry, Curly. We can't have these guys running our testing programs. It would fuck up the Olympics. It would fuck up football, and it's certainly gonna fuck up MMA. So you know what? We're gonna, Bellator is doing just fine without testing. Let's bring the guys in for a polygraph. For those on the radio, I'm making the universal jerk-off sign. So the guy from Goldman Sachs says, now that's an idea. Now that's an idea. That's an idea. So now I'm watching with a gimlet eye. Not a gimped eye, a gimlet eye. Just to see if somehow USADA stumbles. And you'll know USADA is stumbling because they'll say, we made a mistake, and somehow Jonny Boney Joney's exonerated. Now they're going in for the double-blind test. There won't be any peanut spill coverage this time. He's got to be exonerated, full stop. Undermining confidence in USADA, and out they go. Clearing the way for the master of mistiness, GSP, who says he's now going to start fighting to hurt people. Yeah. Once again, for those on the radio, universal jerk-off sign. Stop it. How's that feel? You don't want to be that football player from 1977 who had to watch guys like Neon Dion come in and buy Rolls Royces not even 10 years later. You see Conor McGregor come in and make $100 million. Lying your back in the bed in Montreal and it hurts. Chuck D said it best. The bigger the black, the bigger they want to bite of that booty. Yeah, but you know what? You want to live outside the law, you got to be honest. What you say, if you're Jonny Boney Joney, I need you to open up a division in Los Angeles. Greg Jackson, I need you to do that. I'm going to move to Los Angeles. I'm going to shake the Mini Mart crew. I'm going to redouble myself. I'm going to focus because now we're in not fuck around time now. We're in very serious time right now. And I believe his team when they say that we don't believe he did this. I'm not ruling it out. I got my spies there. They're the ones who tell me that the guy wasn't flying right to begin with. But this is stupid. You know what I would expect to find, honest to God? Keep your eyes open for this. I would expect to find a water-based injectable steroid. Anything else doesn't smell right. And you can invoke Lance Armstrong, and you're gonna the pool is soiled. It is soiled. So, and running away from the pregnant woman whose arm is broken, you can't. Man, oh man, this can't, there will be no bouncing back from this, bro. None. None. So my hat's off to Conor McGregor, because you could take 10 guys, 50 guys, 100 guys, and give them the same set of circumstances, and they don't come out 100 millionaires. They do not. They stumble into a scandal, stumble down a flight of stairs. People say, well, what happened to, doesn't he have getting another woman pregnant, and then she had the kid the same time that his wife had the, maybe, haven't heard from her, right? Why do you think we're getting nude photos of Tiger Woods online? Because he's a cheap piece of shit. Why do you think Michael Jordan, who allegedly did a lot of the same things, you don't hear anything about? Because he's realized it doesn't take much. You're having sex with a cocktail waitress, and you think that you're going to go back to your mansion and not break her off something and leave her in a position where she's struggling to pay the rent because you've got a penis. Look, if she's a cocktail waitress in Vegas, she is swamped in penis. Doesn't need, you are not there because of penis. You're there because of cash, and pay up. It doesn't cost that much. You know what costs a lot? Trying to save a little. That costs a lot. The kind of money that you could have given to your cocktail waitress girlfriend that would have bought her silence is money, if you're Tiger Woods, you wouldn't have even noticed was missing. So, hats off to Conor McGregor. And I keep saying that like I didn't have my hats off to him. I love that guy. But don't make any mistake that what we saw and what I love about him has nothing to do with fighting. Somebody said, Ed Norton. I love Ed Norton. How come I haven't? You know, at this point now, Ed Norton is just a guy from the Honeymooners. Why? Because he doesn't get work. Why? Because he's a pain in the ass. Coming in, going to write the script. You think that's going to work? Not going to work. You got to have friends. Can't attack Stalingrad while bombing the UK. You got to have friends. The frickin' Stalin would have sat out the whole frickin' war because of the non-aggression pact. And even if the Jews had fled east to seek succor in Stalingrad or in Russia, you know, he was no fan of the Jews either. Pogroms would have been the order of the day. Yeah, this stupid TV show, Man in the High. You know, once you get the premise, the show is done. And watch one after Man in the High Tower. Oh, the Nazis won the war. Yeah, it's fine. Got to have some friends. It's what I say about Trump. My diehard Trump guy's like, well, he's got my. Got to have friends, man. Got to have friends. Or alternatively, you can't have a lot of enemies. So those of you who are trying to get red panty night, you got to know those days are over, and that approach is over. You got to have a pretty game plan for sausages on the plates. And since that's the order of the day, even if Jonny Boney Joney is exonerated and USADA is chastened, mashed into a corner, what's he going to do? Saying you want a money fight and getting a money fight are two different things. Yeah, I'd love to see him fight Brock Lesnar, and that would be a money fight. But you know what if I'm going to put Jonny Boney Joney up against Conor McGee, you know what I get? I know a guy who can get to the mountaintop. And I know a guy who's hanging out by the juniper bushes. There's no way Mayweather would have invested this as an opportunity or wasted a minute of his time if he thought that McGee was not going to show up. If he thought there was a likelihood that he would get caught up in some shenanigan, you don't bet that kind of money on that kind of guy. You do not. Setting yourself up. You know, all you have to do, I don't have any fantastic insight. Got spies in New Mexico, that's all. You think the Baldwin doesn't have a better network? You think when they went to Oswald, hey, put this gun up in the tower. Jonny Boney Joney was tailor-made for failure. And he will never come back, ever. he's either being used as a hammer against USADA or used as a hammer against WME. But once you're being used, man, your sausages are falling all over the floor. You got nothing. You know who was using Conor McGee? Mayweather. You know what Mayweather got out of the express purpose of hiding the red from us? Not McGee. He got 250 mil. The numbers are still coming in. It looks like it was a smash. I don't think I have a final number yet. McGee was the guy from Empire's his son, not the John Malkovich character who jumped out of the truck and rather than get his head stove in, he picked up the rock. 375 fighters in the UFC. One guy picked up the rock. This is Arthurian. So the saddest person today, the saddest person in the world today is Jonny Boney Joney. Because you put your ass in a position, it's like, oh, I'm going to climb through that window backwards. Now it seems like my ass is stuck. Oh, and look who just happened to wander by. A bunch of Roman Catholic priests. Uh-oh. Come on. So do you understand what I'm saying? His guilt or innocence is not the point now. You're a cat's paw, and you put yourself in a position to be a cat's paw, and McGregor is now nobody's cat's paw. The number of enemies that the McGregor has to deal with now are few and far between. They're powerful and landed, but they're not many of them. There are guys with more than $100 million of sausages on their plates. That's who he has to worry about. Or maybe guys who have $80 million of sausages on their plates who happen to be pretty savvy. That rules out about 374 other people on the payroll. You know when he said, who the fuck is that guy? He's talking about 374 other fighters on the payroll. How's that feel, fighters on the payroll? And as an audience member, I don't feel bad. I don't have $100 million in the bank, but I didn't have it yesterday, never 10 years ago, and probably won't have it 5 years from now. Will I continue to participate in the mummery, the travesty of the mockery of a sham? I don't know. And this is where we come full circle to Taylor Swift stealing my closing line. It had to happen. I'm at the table looking for the red. On the other side of the table is Taylor Swift. You were just unlucky. Try it again. Look what you made me do. Not only that, she's besmirching it. The record sucks, I hear. I haven't listened to it. So there you go. Like the Sex Pistols said. Oh, actually, I don't remember what they said. Their last show. You ever feel like you've been robbed? It's okay. I let you rob me. I had a friend who was in Brazil. These kids run up to him with a piece of cardboard, jam it in his throat, and they start tickling him. And as he's laughing, oh, these little 7, 8-year-old kids, they're stripping off his watch and taking his wallet. He goes, let him take it. That's us. You and me and all of us posted up in front of that TV last night. Well, there you go. What happens now for the rest of 2017? Well, what happens now is luxury items for the McGregor household. What happens now is now that one of the Fertittas has bought a $73 million place on Central Park West, I think, or the $36 million Malibu Beach house. That's what happens kind of now. What happens now is Jonny Boney Joney's kind of embracing being a cat's paw. Nobody in New Mexico having the guts to tell me to cut loose these mini-mark fucks. Maybe USADA, all accounts are level like the last 5 minutes of The Godfather. I don't know that we're going to have any sport that we give a shit about next year, but everything passes. I used to be really into pro wrestling when I was 12. Used to like disco when I was 16. Things change. Anyway, end of the show, 2:58. I'm Eugene stand up for Saka Robinson. This is the show. We will see you on Tuesday. Oh, no, not this Tuesday. I think Alexi is on vacation. If there's a fight next week, Wednesday, you will see a Care Don't Care preview. At the very least, you will see us the Tuesday after next. And if there's a fight, then there'll be another Knuckle Up. Yeah, we're doing a death march, baby. People say, oh, you didn't do the show? You didn't? Yeah, my mom was here and the family, my sister, their husbands, everybody was here in and out. Couldn't do. I was going to put my mom on the show. Then the Jonny Boney Joney thing happened. We got sidetracked. But we're done. 2:58 in the record books. We'll see you soon. Don't know when. Give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up. And after the thumbs up, if you want, the Twitter thing is open now, open for business at Eugene S. Robinson. Instagram, Mr. Sleep 3, but that's not. If you don't have any photos on your page, I'm not letting you in. And don't try to think, oh, I got to approve you for, no, you have to, that's still gated. It's a velvet rope. I want to know who's in there. I don't want you, I assume you're a spy. So there you go. Thumbs up at Eugene S. Robinson Twitter feed, Mr. Sleep 3 Instagram. We will see you Wednesday if there's a fight for Care Don't Care preview. We're going to skip If I Did It this week. And I hope you're enjoying these 7 shows before the flambe. You guys had a chance. Make me MMA Journalist of the Year, but you gave it 6 times to Hawani. Hawani, didn't he come? Wasn't he ass out recently? Then something happened. Oh, he was at McGregor, Mayweather strip club. Like Ghostface Killer says, that's right, I'm hating. Anyway, we'll see you soon. I'm Eugene S. Robinson. Look what you made me do!